Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. Your host, Rick Holland, for Healthy Tech Talk. Welcome to the program. Today we're going to be talking about the role of the social worker in your pain management regime or your pain management plan. They're there to help you and to make sure that you have all the resources available and the tools available. I just came a couple of hours ago from the Jim Pattison Pain Clinic in Surrey, and I met with a wonderful, very caring and warm social worker. Her name was Deirdre. Deirdre? That's how you say it, Deirdre. She's Irish, and she's only been here since March, and she has this wonderful accent. It's just really nice. And she loves Canadians. She loves Canada. But what I was impressed with is this. The Jim Pattison Pain Clinic will make sure that you have all the tools at your disposal to be able to live with, handle, or manage your chronic pain. For example, I saw an occupational therapist, and we had a great meeting. And then I took a class, a 6-week class in self-management of pain. That was a phenomenal class. Then I took another class for 4 weeks, and these are only once a week, by the way, for 4 weeks for specific exercises for the neck. Now, I happen to injure my neck. Other people injure their back. So there's only 2 exercise programs that have neck and back. However, they are revamping their programs, and they've got new information, and they're going in depth on a lot of their programs. So I'm all behind Jim Pattison Pain Clinic. It takes people sometimes a little bit longer to get in, and I agree with that. That's the price we pay for socialistic medicine. I mean, come on, in the States you can get right in, but you have to pay. If you don't have any money, you're not going to get into those clinics. So the pay per model is okay, but I kind of prefer this, I mean, even if you have to wait a little bit. So it took me about 10 months to get into the Jim Pattison Clinic the first time. And at that time, they set up a whole bunch of interviews, and they said, well, would you like to see this person and this person and this person? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll see them all. But I had a wonderful time with Deirdre. She is a social worker, and what she does is she kind of specs out where you're at. You know, she wants to paint a picture of where you are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then she can say, well, you know, maybe we should go down this path, or maybe we should get with these resources, or maybe we should have this person look at you. So seeing a social worker is not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, I think it's wonderful, because if you're on track, and I feel like me, I feel like I'm on track, and I just have a great life now. Even though I'm a chronic pain, I don't like the term chronic pain sufferer. You know that? I'm going to have to come up with a better term, chronic pain manager or something, or I don't know, fun officer of chronic pain, something like that, to give it a better spin. But I do not like when they say, you know, I had an interview with, not an interview, but an appointment with Dr. Dingle a few weeks ago, and they did the nerve conduction test. And he says, I hate the term degenerative disc disease. He said it is not a disease. It's not something that all of a sudden it creeps up on you. You know what? It's a natural progression of life. It's just like if we live long enough, everyone's pancreas will be compromised, right? If a man lives long enough, he's going to have challenges with his prostate. I mean, it's just what it is. It is what it is in this modern world that we live in. But seeing a social worker is very, very important, I think, because they will gauge, through talking to you, where you're at, where you need to be, or they will suggest where they think you need to be. And these are people that are highly trained. Don't forget that. They have a passion, and they have a drive, and they have the will to work with people to improve their lives. Remember that. People think, oh, I got to see a social worker. There's a negative connotation. Nothing could be further from the truth. They're going to plug you in with the right folks. In my case, there wasn't really much we had to do. We had a great visit, and she enthusiastically refers to the same authors that I read. There was a book on her countertop, and it was by John Kabat-Zinn, and he is very, very good at mindfulness, where he does a lot of work with cancer patients. He will give each cancer patient a raisin in a room, and then let them meditate on it. And what that does is it anchors you physically. My father, the poor guy, he was always either living in the past or thinking of living in the future. And when you do that, when you take a lot of emotions and a lot of life's energy and either live in the past or want to live in the future, you forget to be in the present. So what that raisin did with John Kabat-Zinn's meditation class, with his cancer class, is it anchored you in the present because you had to taste the raisin. Well, you can't taste the raisin yesterday, and you're not going to be able to taste the raisin tomorrow. You need to taste the raisin now, because your salivary glands will never lie to you. They'll say, there's a raisin here, right now. And in the moment is the only moment that you can truly live. It is the only moment that matters, because the decisions you make right now will influence the rest of your life. When you get out of bed, you get the opportunity to control your emotions and your attitude. That's the only thing that you get to directly control in your life. You could go through a divorce. Your kids could decide to hate you for some reason. You could lose your job. All these ugly, messy things can happen to you. But only one thing you get to control, and that's your attitude. And if you take your attitude and you say, a whole bunch of things bad happen to me, but it doesn't mean that I can't have a positive attitude, you win all the time, constantly. So I really feel that Deirdre was there as my social worker to say, you're on the right track. You're doing all the things. She said, you know what, honestly, I can't add anything to what you're doing now. I do juicing. I juice, and there's wonderful juices out there to take down inflammation. So if you're a chronic pain sufferer, get juicing carrots and celery and apples and ginger and oranges and lemons. Make sure that you have a lemon in your juice, and beets. And there's a whole bunch of forums on the internet about how to juice for specific diseases, for specific chronic ailments like chronic pain. And also what I've noticed is when I juice, my meds work a lot better, is because my body doesn't have to take the time, dedicate any resources to breaking down solid food into its liquid matter, because that's the big job of your body. It's to take a solid food and to break it down. Well, when you juice, half the battle's already done. Your body doesn't have to break anything down, and you get fantastic vitamins, minerals, and nutrients from juicing. As a matter of fact, I juice 64 ounces a day. 32 for me and 32 for my wife, and we have a big 12-ounce glass of juice in the morning. And then we fill our thermoses, and we have that for lunch or dinner. And I still eat solid food. I eat salads and chicken and fish and pork, all the meats that are really, really easy to digest. Beef, on the other hand, is not a good idea, because if you have a steak, get this, if you have a steak, it can take up to 8 to 12 hours for that steak to digest and be broken down into liquid form. When you juice, and this is really exciting, folks, when you juice, the nutrients, vitamins, and minerals are available to your blood within 15 minutes. See how quick that is? It's just like that. And by the way, chronic pain sufferers, they do not feel like eating, and they do not feel like cooking. So go out and buy yourself a good juicer. We have the Omega VRT, and VRT stands for Omega Vertical, where I just drop a carrot in or a stick of celery in or an apple. You got to core it up a little bit. And it's a fabulous juicer. It juices at low speed. Anyway, enough about nutrition. We're here to talk about social workers. So I want to give kudos to Deirdre, the social worker that I saw at Jim Pattison. And you might think that getting into Jim Pattison Pain Clinic takes a while. It does. It took me 10 months. And some people are saying that to get into those self-management classes, it takes them 4 years. That's unacceptable. You know it, and I know it. And the doctors know it too. It's unacceptable. And these people work really, really hard to deliver the best. But there's too many people in Canada that suffer with chronic pain. And you put it, there's a big funnel, and the funnel up here is full of chronic pain sufferers, and the little part of the funnel is the support teams at Jim Pattison that are trying to help them as much as they can. They are dedicated professionals. So if you're having issues, and I'm talking, if you feel that you are losing the battle against chronic pain, in any of the 4 areas, emotional, physical, mental, or spiritual, go see a social worker. Now, granted, it's going to take a while to get into Jim Pattison, but my advice to you would be go to see your family doctor If you're having trouble, ask them to refer you to a social worker, and they are there to help you. There's nothing negative about seeing a social worker. You're not claiming that you've run into the end of the game or anything. They're there to point you in the right direction. They're there to help you. But you know what the wonderful thing about this whole thing is there's a couple of sayings that I live by that I pull out of my hat all the time. And one of them is, for things that change, you have to change. That means some people expect all the people around them out there in the world have to change their attitude or their behavior before they're comfortable. That's wrong. For things to change, you have to change. So that means I have to change. The only one that I'm responsible for, and I can do anything about, or I can influence greatly, is me. And for things to get better, you have to get better. So educate yourself. You know what I do when I go for a walk, and I power walk 2 times a day? I listen to podcasts that I really, really love. And you would be very impressed with the amount of podcasts that are on the internet that hold interest to you. Take my challenge. Go out and investigate and your favorite hobby or what you like listening to or talking about, and get a podcast. I will bet you that there is a podcast, a series of podcasts that somebody's put together, really good quality stuff that is positive, and it takes your mind off of the pain. This is a deflection tool that I use all the time. I've got my headset on my head 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day, depending on the day, because I can listen to podcasts and I can be typing away at my job, And it's wonderfully refreshing. So at the end of the day, if you feel that you're needing help, needing support, please don't be afraid to ask for help. That's what your doctor's there. That's what the healthcare professionals are there for. That's what a social worker. Think about a social worker as a person that is going to be directing you to all of the other wonderful resources and tools available. They write reports. They write their recommendations. They write what you talked about, so they can pass that information, that portfolio of information, on to another health professional. Look, get good help. If you suffer from chronic pain, some of you, it has turned into a full-time job. I get that. I understand that, because I was there a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago anyway. I had a migraine headache that lasted for over 100 days because of myofascia pain. Didn't matter what I did. Didn't matter whether I relaxed, whether I meditated, whether I did Qigong, Tai Chi, Chuan. Didn't matter. I had a headache, and it came from here, and it went all the way back, and it was horrible for 100 days. I barely got out of bed. And it was a pretty dark period, but I knew that it wasn't going to last. It wasn't going to last for a lifetime. So after I got out of there, things started to improve, and improve very, very quickly. So you know what? When if you're a chronic pain sufferer and you're going down like this, remember to ask for help. This is Rick Holland, and I have been pleased to bring you this podcast. Go use the resources in your community. Ask for a social worker. Go to your doctor. Or go get your doctor to refer you to the Jim Pattison Clinic. And Deirdre, good job. You are one of the most pleasant social worker professionals I have ever met. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you next show. Rick Holland for Healthy Tech Talk. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.